Okay, it's lovely to be back in Buka again, and I've come here for a very special reason this time. Next week is the annual general meeting of BCL, Bougainville Copper Limited, and I will be retiring from the board, as would have been the late Sir Rabi. We were both going to retire next week, and unfortunately we lost him from the board just a short time back. And in my place on the board and to fill up those gaps, we've now got a really brilliant new board member sitting beside me here, Marianne Hasola, and she'll be introducing herself. And so that will all happen next week in Port Moresby, the changeover, the retirement and the changeover. A very smooth one. I've been very proud, very privileged to be part of BCL for close to 10 years. I was on the board with Sir Rabi, the late Sir Rabi, when it was BCL Rio Tinto. And then I was there when Rio Tinto divested their shares to the PNG government, and since 2016, I think I'm correct, we've been just BCL, PNG, BCL, working towards, hopefully, the redevelopment of the mine, but that's still in the future. So I'd like Marianne to actually introduce herself. She's got a very strong background, both professionally and in terms of Bougainville. So Marianne will introduce herself.
Okay, thank you, Carol. My name is Marianne Hasola. Currently, I'm working with the Internal Revenue Commission. I've been with the Commission for 23 years, and during that time, I got a scholarship, or received a scholarship to go and study for my master's in commerce taxation, and I was appointed as a non-executive director on the 23rd of Feb this year, and I went through the interview and I was appointed as one of the board directors, non-executive directors. This was a suggestion that was brought up by Carol, that we would come over and just do a meet and greet with the ABG women leaders and other leaders with ABG, just to get to know each other as leaders that are in positions that are making decisions within ABG. With the board at the moment, we have Samuel as the chairman of the board. Samuel Togolo is the chairman of the board. We have Sam Moyave, and Rabi Namali, late Rabi Namali, who has passed on before the retirement date. That will be next week, when we have the AGM meeting for BCL. And we have Carol, who will also be retiring next week on the 4th of May during the AGM meeting. Yeah, and we have David Osikore, who is one of the Bougainvilleans, who has a knowledge and background on mining. He's a geologist. He's also one of the board members. And we have two ABG reps, Kenneth Nane and James, who are Bougainvilleans, and that represents 71% of Bougainvilleans. I am looking forward to working with that team towards the, anything that will be working on the mining with ABG, as ABG may be holding the most of the shares and becoming a major shareholder in the company.
I felt very privileged because I am not an expert in mining. I don't know anything about mining really, nor really large resource development, but I felt very privileged to sometimes influence things in thinking about community, in thinking about impact on family, impact on these things. And of course, Marianne has a huge background in finance and those types of things. She'll tell you more about her background too in committee she's on at national level. But she's also going to have the double responsibility of also still speaking on behalf and thinking on behalf of family, etc., and making sure the board, which is, other than her, is male people, making sure that they have a, what we'd say, gender-sensitive view to the whole thing of the development, because any development like this has impact on family.
As a landowner, someone who comes from, say, the mine-affected areas, I'm looking forward to working with the people, the landowners there, because I know the way we think and how we understand things, but there are some things that needs to be cleared, how they have to understand it clearly. Example, we have now the BCL, which ABG will be the major shareholder. If the government, the transfer of the shares takes place, then they would have the 72.8%. That's if the transfer of the shares takes place, and they'll be the major shareholders. So as a landowner, we have to understand that Rio Tinto, BCL is not Rio Tinto, but at the moment people have that, they have that understanding as BCL is Rio Tinto at the moment, which there would be awareness would be carried out to make them understand that this is a different company now.
It's very unfortunate that BCL, and when the changeover happened, perhaps we should have changed the name, although BCL was a globally known name because it's on the Australian Stock Exchange. But in some ways, it's unfortunate that on the ground, and I've found this very much so, on the ground, people still see BCL as Rio Tinto and so feel negative about it. But Rio Tinto has been out of BCL for a long time, almost all the time I've been on it. And I can say with confidence that all members, board members that I've worked with on this directorship, they are completely committed to the good of Bougainville and the good of Bougainvillean people. The late Sarabi always took decisions in the best interests of Bougainville and the Bougainvillean people. And you could say that for all of the board members. And so I feel very confident about BCL going forward, and I hope it can go forward. Of course, BCL doesn't have the money to develop a major mine anymore. But we have board members who are very experienced in negotiating at that level globally and contacts, who will make sure credible partners are searched for, that there will be credible partners looked for financial input, and that's a very important thing. But in the end, it's Bougainville government will decide what happens.
I've worked with Internal Revenue Commission for 23 years, and within that period I've worked in different divisions of IRC. I worked with assessments, then on to audits, tax audits, and now I am with tax advising division, where we are providing tax advices to taxpayers. I am also in the team with state negotiating team on discussions in regards to tax. And and I was with Internal Revenue Commission when I got appointed to BCL Board on the 23rd of Feb this year, and I am happy and looking forward to working with the team. Looking forward to the challenges that we will work together with the board, BCL Board.